What's something boys can never tell their girlfriends? Story 1. We're concerned about you just up and leaving us. I've had it happen once, no warning or anything. The day before we were spooning in bed, talking like normal about everything. The next day she just moved out, left me and the dog. The dog she insisted we buy. I don't really want that responsibility, without so much as a penny. I had spent a small fortune paying off her student loan and all of her bills a few days prior. I had an insane payout because of a large bonus thanks to my effort at work. And the deal was that we'd use her salary to buy food and live our lives that month. 6.5 years relationship. She just left me without so much as an explanation. Left me without money to buy food for me or the dog. It was so unexpected. Her friends called me and asked if I had cheated or what I had done wrong. None of them knew why she left either. It's been 10 years and I still don't know. And I still don't fully trust it won't happen again with my current girlfriend. The dog is still with me, by the way. A beautiful but old Rottweiler. 13 years old this September, which I spoiled rotten. Story 2. I actually watched this episode without you when you passed out last night. You have to make sure to restart the episode after I watch it, then let it play for a few seconds and then pause it there so they don't realize I've watched the entire thing without them. Story 3. How much I actually spend on my hobbies. It's not like I lie, I just never disclose my prices. To the grave. Hell, I don't even want to know. Story 4. That you wouldn't date her if she was a worm. Depends. If we started dating and then she became a worm, I'd get a little habitat thing to take care of her. I'd still love her. If I met her as a worm, then no. I couldn't start to develop any feelings. Story 5. The real answer to the question, what are you thinking about when he dozed off again? My then girlfriend used to ask all the time. She was super self-critical and was convinced I spent my time thinking about other girls. One day I got so fed up that I told her what I was actually thinking about. How great a rock band would be if it was made up entirely of apes. My now wife now just asks, monkeys playing drums again? Story 6. I want my hoodie back. My ex kept my favorite jacket. It's been 3 years and I still miss that jacket. Dude, that's cold. Obviously, because you got no jacket. Story 7. What I'm really thinking about, since you would never believe me if I said I was thinking about how bike tires are made. Story 8. 14 years ago, I woke up before you on a weekend. I was watching an episode of Batman the Animated Series. You woke up halfway through this episode and picked up the remote and changed the channel. You knew I was watching, and I never got to see the end of the episode. I'm still salty about it. Story 9. I need space from her sometimes. It's not because she did something wrong. I'm not currently in a relationship. This was me to my previous partners. I've grown since then and now know better. Frame it as time to yourself, not time away from her if you're able to. Story 10. The guy she tells us not to worry about really worries us. Story 11. The pigs are much bigger than you expect. Story 12. Calm down. So you have chosen death. Story 13. That when I think in bed, it isn't about her when I'm silent. I'm trying to solve a riddle from a game or question something on a TV show. Story 14. Where I buried my treasure. Story 15. Don't call her a ketchup packet when she's on her period. Story 16. That you're actually 3 toddlers in a trench coat. Whenever my girlfriend starts to catch on it, I just make up an excuse to go do a business. Story 17. In my case, what you thinking about? My wife asks me all the time, and I've been daydreaming about what it would be like if I owned that McDonald's across the street, and then after falling in a vat of radioactive fry grease was able to turn into Ronald at night. I would fight crime, but only if it was food-related, and all of my weapons would be burger condiment-themed. Then I'm thinking about the aerodynamics of pickles as shurikens, and what process I would use to make them sturdy and sharp enough to be lethal. It's a lot easier to just say spacing out than see her cute face raise an eyebrow in concern if I'm working too much again.
Hey, guess what? Our team just introduced Rufus rugs. Premium, custom, hand-tufted rugs. Imagine having your own unique rug that perfectly reflects your style. Whether you're a dedicated Naruto fan or simply adore Pokemon and can't resist displaying bus toys, we can turn your dreams into reality. We can create almost anything you want. Don't wait. Dive deeper into the world of Rufus rugs by clicking the first link in the description.
Story 18. That despite being sexually attracted to you, I still is fundamentally different from sexual interaction. Interaction is more about sentimental and emotional satisfaction and social interaction than it is about gratification, although this can go hand in hand. A lot of the stuff is more about fantasies you have but want to stay fantasies and have no real interest in doing. For example, lots of guys might be interested in some videos but not be actually interested in doing it in real life. There's also the fact that since guys can zone out and think of literally anything, that sometimes leads to wondering how it would feel like to jerk off to this or this and such. The fact that guys do it while still in a relationship doesn't mean he's not into you, and quite often can lead to higher drive and more need for emotional gratification with their partners. Story 19. About the voices. We aren't supposed to tell anyone about them. Story 20. How gorgeous they are. Never comes out right. It's never as much as you want it to be. I will never forget stumbling over my words to my first girlfriend. You're You're as pretty as you're ever gonna get. I getcha. I freeze up whenever I try to compliment anyone in real life. Story 21. Yes, that girl we passed on the beach in that bathing suit was attractive, and the fact that I think she was attractive doesn't mean I'm unhappy with our relationship, neither that I want to cheat on you. Story 22. Who would win? Batman versus Polar Bear. She wouldn't believe me if I told her. Story 23. The dress doesn't make you look fat because you already are. The fact that you're fat makes you look fat. The dress just makes you look purple. Story 24. Don't call her Tony Pizza. Story 25. Which ones of her friends you think are hot? Don't care what she says, fellas. It's a trap. Or which one of her best friends you can't stand? Story 26. How many times per week they wanked in spite of having a girlfriend? Story 27. The only thing a good guy said to me that he shouldn't have is we went out to a nice Valentine's Day dinner at my favorite Indian restaurant. Got all dressed up, which is not our usual style as poorish retail workers. We're having a wonderful time, and he said, yeah, his ex and I came here for Valentine's Day once. Totally ruined the moment for me. I thought it was so special, but he'd been there and done that. I don't think he thought that one through. Story 28. About the jar, apparently. Story 29. That there were other women before you. Made this mistake thinking she met me when I was 34, so why should she care or be bothered by it? Fast forward 3 years and I ended up breaking off my engagement by text because her jealousy finally caused me to snap. Story 30. That long 40-minute nonstop story you just told me while I had full eye contact and kept nodding and agreeing with you? Yeah, I zoned out about 5 minutes in and was thinking about what show I'm going to watch later tonight. I just know how to look like I'm listening. Story 31. The extent to which I spend money on movies, games, books, comics, etc. But honestly, we have a mutually assured destruction type deal going where she also doesn't have to tell me how much all the plants and vintage clothes cost. I'd also note that we do save. We both have solid jobs and we're financially stable overall. Story 32. Yes, I do get aroused around you. It's not by choice. It's not because of anything in particular you're doing. I just think you're hot, and I intend to ignore it, because I don't want to just bring it up, and I don't really feel like dealing with it anyway. It's just kind of there. Story 33. My last girlfriend blamed her acne on the COVID vaccine. I didn't have the heart to say maybe it was the literal pint of ice cream she had almost daily. Story 34. That golf courses have this thing called pace of play, so 18 holes don't take 9 hours. Story 35. How much of a dork I am. Like I don't think my girlfriend knows the fullest extent to how much I love the concept of Power Rangers and other Super Sentai mythos. Story 36. Based off of my most recent, you supposedly can't tell them how you deal with depression. That made her go crazy with yelling at me and then leaving and saying to never speak to her again. I am sorry her is still eating at you, but it was her issue, not yours. Her inability to interact with other humans at a normal level isn't something that you need to think twice about. The trash just took itself out. Be happy she showed you her true colors and you're free of someone so callous and also stupid. Like, why is she so mad? Does she think someone would choose depression? Hey guys, just a quick side note. If you like my content and love listening to the stories, please press the subscribe button and click on the notification bell to get notified of my future uploads. Thanks, and back to the stories. Story 37. About the throwaway Reddit account. Story 38. What you really were thinking of. How the hell do I explain? I wonder, if a circle could dance, would it squish or would it wiggle? Story 39. Who you would actually kiss, the prettiest girl or her? It's a trap no matter your answer. Story 40. That I'm thinking about nothing. Nothing, zip, nada, not a single thought. I just look at the clock and wonder why minutes, or in some cases hours, have passed where not a single constructive thought has entered my mind. It doesn't help that I have resting someone kicked your puppy face. My current girlfriend gets it now, but man, it took years to convince her that I'm not overthinking. I'm dissociating. Story 41. How much their Games Workshop models really cost. Story 42. That we smell our hands after we scratch our I legit get negative emotional feedback from my brain if I can't catch a whiff afterwards. Glad to know I'm not wired entirely wrong. Story 43. I'm war-torn, so when the nightmares come on too strong, I just say I'm dreaming that the dog got out again. I used to not tell my wife about the nightmares. One day I opened up and shared some of what it was, some of what we did, not the worst of it. And the more I shared with her, the more it helped keep the nightmares back. And it took a huge wedge out of our relationship. She was able to understand now why sometimes I just needed alone time, or would rather spend 4th of July with a case of beer and a movie and not down at the festival and fireworks show. Story 44. That I enjoy not talking to her when we're cuddling. Don't get me wrong, I also love having a good conversation with her, but I'm perfectly content with just being silent. That always seems confusing to women. Story 45. Jokes aside, if I'm in a good relationship with someone I love and trust, basically nothing. I mean, aside from things that aren't mine to share, such as things other people have told me in confidence or things I'm bound to by legal contract with an employer not to talk about. Story 46. No, I wouldn't love if you were a literal spider. Look, A worm is hard, but some spiders are really cute, not gonna lie. Story 47. That I worry constantly that she'll realize I'm not as good as any other dude. Story 48. Yes, you put on a little weight, but I like it. I actually told my girlfriend of 12 years this. We both know she's put on a little weight. She was a size 8 when I met her, so not exactly difficult. And I need her to know that she looks hot, and any weight she put on was put on in all the right places. Story 49. You should have ordered your own fries then. Reminds me of that one restaurant where there's a menu item, my girlfriend is not hungry, and then they bring you an extra order of fries. Story 50. Babe, you're being a little unreasonable here. Story 51. Okay, so it's less of a tell their girlfriends to more of a explain to their girlfriends. Once we're finished with a bottle of soda, why do we bonk our heads repeatedly without even thinking about anything? And the excruciating pain that you got once you accidentally hit your head with a cap instead. Story 52. The trauma I've gone through. So many women give zero crap about what you've been through or what you need help with. In my personal experience, the literal moment you express what you need support with or even express your trauma, they disappear. I'll never not be for equality, but it hurts so damn much when a woman who has past trauma turns her back on you. Story 53. When another woman is flirtatious with me, and no, before anyone says anything, I have absolutely not flirted back or given signals. In no way, shape, or form. For example, the most recent time was last week on vacation with my family. We were at a small beach in town in Eastern Europe. My wife got an ear infection from too much water going in her ears at the beach. I take my 1-year-old daughter to the pharmacy to get her something for it. I tell a young lady pharmacist that I need something for my wife's ear infection. Lady pharmacist proceeds to start asking me personal questions and flirting with me pretty blatantly while taking her time getting the medication. People are starting to walk in now. There's like a 3-person line behind me waiting. I'm being polite but short. Not curt, but almost. She's not bothered. And she brings her phone out trying to show me her Instagram page, while I'm holding my daughter in one arm and my wallet in the other. I tell her very firmly that she's been very helpful and I appreciate it, but I must get back to my wife. How much is the medication? She prints me a receipt, writes her Insta and Snapchat on it, and hands it to me. I give her the cash, pretend I don't see the info she wrote on the receipt, and joke, I don't need the receipt. I don't plan on returning the medication. Have a great day. I leave the receipt in the counter and leave. She's blowing my daughter kisses and waving to her as we leave while I'm wondering what the hell just happened. Bro, did she give you the right medicine and not something to get your wife out of the way? Story 54. You're not actually looking at them on the screen in a video chat when they ask what you're looking at. Story 55. That you got snacks from the store but didn't get me anything, even though I told you I didn't want anything. We all do it. But why? I expect the opposite of what you're asking, and then get huffy when it happens. Story 56. What the boys are saying in the group chat. Bro, if anyone found my Discord group chats, I would go to a mental asylum. Story 57. Their insecurities. Story 58. I don't hate my exes. I don't think they're monsters. There was a reason I dated them. And if anything bad happened to them, we would genuinely feel concerned. Also, keeping a good relationship with their parents or even checking in on them even after we broke up. You don't have to burn bridges in every relationship you walk out of. Story 59. That I just got, it's not because of that other woman who just walked or drove or cartwheeled past. It's because we just walked past a cafe and I got a whiff of a particular blend of tea that reminded me of this time I was in a supermarket looking for tea and my friend texted me about something that reminded me of the time we were backpacking across Western Europe and we stopped for tea in a cafe just outside Barcelona. And the older but still attractive waitress gave me one of the 3 compliments I've ever received, which I had a good wank over when we got back to the hotel. I can relate to this one on a personal level. Story 60. Exes. Nobody wants to know about them, especially your current girlfriend. If someone asks about them, tell them to go to plug a hole. It will never end well for you. Story 61. My ex was thinner, prettier, better at insert random line than you. You should have stayed with her in that case, champ. Story 62. How stressful it can be moving into renovating a new house. She's stressed out too, so me sharing my stresses as well doesn't help anything. Just taking it one thing, one moment, one day at a time and gonna focus on that instead. It sucks always having to be the rock and feeling like you can't express when you're stressed. Story 63. That sometimes we're barely coping with reality and now and again we could use a little support too. Well, you could tell your girl that. I did. Didn't go too well. Story 64. It's less of a she can never know and more of a physical impossibility. Sometimes it's just impossible for a man to tell his girl just how much he loves her. He can't find the words. He can't find the right actions. Nothing can ever truly convey how much he means to him. And then she walks away. And suddenly he knows exactly the right words, but it's too late. Story 65. Literally anything emotional. I'm sick of the, man need to open up more and show emotion meme. Because every single experience of that I've ever had in life demonstrates the opposite. My ex broke up with me a month ago. Why? It moved house, changed careers, and did it all for us. It made moves to give us a better life. She promised to support me during a difficult transition. Quickly, it spiraled into complaints that I wasn't doing enough to show I cared, and every time I'd show vulnerability, cry, ask for emotional support, I'd meet, "I don't have time for this. Man up, I'm not here to be your mummy," or something degrading, belittling crap like that. We were together for 2 years, and I supported her through so much. Story 66. Sexual attraction is not equal affection. You'd be arguing with a brick wall trying to explain your way out of that one. See that couch? Given a long enough time alone and a teenager's hormones, they would likely do that couch. I cannot imagine anyone ever dating that couch. That is the difference between sexual attraction and romantic attraction. Story 67. Most dudes do not wipe after pissing. Story 68. That we don't like it when they talk like babies. Story 69. If our exes were better and bad. Absolutely no good can come out of honesty here. We bottle that up and let it eat ulcers through our guts and be grateful for a mediocre head, whatever it takes to avoid that war. She could be better than your ex if you communicate exactly what you like. Story 70. I sometimes appreciate being alone or not with you. There are moments that are better without you, like watching a football game with my friends, sitting alone on the porch, letting the thoughts fly away. Sometimes I want to do what I like, without tending to your needs and wants. Even if you say it's okay to ignore you, I will still low-key care and make sure you're having a good time. Putting focus away on the activity and removing parts of the fun in the process, I care about you. That is the problem. Story 71. The guys like being protected just as much as girls, and that sometimes we want to be the princess protected by a strong knight of a girl in our life. Also, some of us fantasize about being fed grapes under a tree while our hair is gently stroked as we fall asleep with our head on your lap, with our thighs as a nice safe pillow with a small breeze blowing as we sleep deeply and peacefully feeling protected. Story 72. Their first loves that they can never forget. I don't like generalizing things, but that's true for most men. Story 73. We pee a little in our underwear sometimes when we don't shake. Never had that problem since elementary school, when I started sitting down to pee and using toilet paper to dry it. Story 74. When she sweats, it smells like salt and vinegar chips, and the scent honestly turns me on. Story 75. How sometimes we feel emotionally weak and need help. No one must ever know. Story 76. It depends on the person. One girl I was with never wanted to hear that anybody else was especially attractive, but another girl had no problem with that and got upset about me watching explicit content. That one didn't last long for other reasons too. Whatever you don't want to tell them, they should be okay with. And if you do want to tell them, they should be okay with that too for the most part and for the important stuff.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out this next video. The YouTube algorithm really thinks you like it.